Hey there, fellow nostalgia aficionados. Welcome back. David Eon here in the Open by Chance Vintage Toy Museum. Throwing it out there, the general question. I asked this question on a live stream just recently and wanted to touch base on it with all of you and just get your opinions and tell you what I'm thinking here about the trading card market. About the trading card market and the direction that it's gone in. And essentially what I had said at the time, and I don't have it sitting right in front of me, so I'm paraphrasing here a little bit. I've been seeing a lot more Pokemon cards turning up at shows, and I'm wondering, does anybody really care about these like all that? I'm wondering, does anybody really care about these like all that? And I got some responses, and I'm going to read one. I'm going to read one of these responses here. I just want to make sure I get this right, okay? And it says, you're wondering if people care about Pokemon. There are cards out there that sold for millions of dollars, LOL. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean it's not worth anything. This is the comment that I received. And I responded, the question is not about whether I like them or not. The question is about why they are liked. What reason? Because they're cool to some people, or because there's value, or perhaps a combination of both. I didn't say I didn't like Pokemon cards. Okay? I don't have anything against Pokemon cards, or Yu-Gi-Oh cards, or Magic the Gathering cards, or baseball cards, or whatever. I don't have a problem with that. Okay? I do have issues with their marketing. And I do have issues with the idea that people, rather than collecting them because they actually care about the product, versus people who only see potential resale value in them. That was my point, which was missed in this response. The fact that there are cards that have sold for millions really almost proves my point. Because I'm like, the fact that they sold for millions doesn't mean that the people who purchased them or the people that sold them care about those cards at all outside of potential resale value, outside of perceived worth of the cards. What can I get for them? If I buy this, is it an investment? Can I get my money back? Can I resell it and turn a profit? As opposed to, wow, I just really love this card. Okay? When you're spending millions of dollars on a single card, I can probably almost guarantee you it's not a situation where somebody just really, really loves that card and wants to complete a set. Okay? It's not a completist thing at that level. That's an investment. The majority of people, that's an investment. And that's my question. And it's a trend, not just with Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Magic the Gathering or modern sports cards necessarily. It's a trend that's been building up in sports cards really since the late 80s. Pick up a Beckett's guide, okay? Get a Beckett's guide to baseball cards or football cards or whatever. And notice the dates in them. This is the trick, okay? This is the point. If you take the baseball one from the early 1900s with the original cigarette cards, and you go all the way to about like 1987, 1988, it's about that much of the book. The rest of the book is modern cards, because right around the end of 1980s, right around the end of the 1980s, we went from like 3 or 4 companies producing sports cards to dozens of companies producing sports cards across the board. Baseball, hockey, basketball, football. Dozens and dozens of companies cropped up out of nowhere. There was very heavy competition. It ruined a lot of businesses, okay? When I was growing up, there were a lot of trading card shops that sold sports cards and other novelty type cards, you know, like Topps did Star Wars cards and Close Encounters and things like that. They had trading cards like this. And when suddenly you had 80 to 100 card companies to choose from, they made a lot of bad choices, and most of those card companies went out of business. So from like the late 80s to about 95, the United States, probably 70% of the card shops shut down. And, you know, I'm pulling that number out of the air. I don't have anything sitting in front of me, but I know that there were like 20 card shops in the Boston area when I was growing up. And by the time you got to 94, 95, there were 3. Okay? There were 3, and one of them was hanging by a thread. So yeah, it hurt them badly because they didn't know where to put their money, because they didn't know what people wanted. They didn't know what they wanted anymore. And what they wanted changed, because what they wanted now was not to complete a set because they liked a team or because they liked a certain card company. They wanted chase cards. They didn't care about the rest of them anymore. I remember in particular, oh God, if I can think of who it was that produced these, it was the Wayne Gretzky, okay? It was the first time a hologram card had been done for a sports card, okay? It was a Wayne Gretzky hologram. And everybody was looking for this. They were selling literally cases, and people were not getting them. And I don't mean a box, I mean a case, like a case of a dozen boxes of cards, and not finding one, because they were selling for like over $1,000 at the time. I don't know what it's going for now. It was a terrible hologram too, because, you know, back then the holograms didn't look like anything. You could barely tell what it was. I've seen it. I held it in my hands, okay? And again, I don't know what they're selling for now, but back then it was a huge big deal. People were plowing through hundreds and hundreds of cases of these things looking for that card and didn't care about the rest of the hockey cards. And the whole set is worthless. Was then, is now. As is the case with most trading card sets from the late 80s to now, where the majority of them, and I can't vouch for every set, okay, because I'm not big in the card market, but I had dabbled in it. I don't do it anymore, not for a long, long time, okay? Back when I was still kind of a dealer back in the 90s, I've dealt with trading cards and things like that. People didn't care about the sets. They wanted they wanted the chase card. They wanted the hologram. They wanted the foil card. They wanted the autograph. And the rest of it didn't matter. And that trend has stayed, because it still goes on today, where people are buying cases and cases of cards, and it's like whip, 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 whip. Oh, here we go! Because cha-ching, dollar signs, they're going to get it graded and try to make bank on the card, okay? Which is all they care about. All they care about. Now, I'm not saying there's nobody out there that just loves card collecting. There are, but I'm seeing a point where people who are looking for potential resale value and looking at the cards more so as an investment outweigh true collectors of trading cards at this point. That's how it looks to me. You may have a different opinion, that's fine. But that's how it looks to me right now. And this is also, by the way, where grading came from. This is what blew open the doors for getting cards graded, was all those chase cards that were cropping up in the late 80s and early 90s, which has spilled over into comic books and other types of media as well, because as you know, I'm sure, they also grade vinyl records, cassette tapes, DVDs, video games, all kinds of crap now. They grade toys, which I have no graded toys. I have no graded toys, and everything I collect, I have no intention of selling. Occasionally I'll sell something, but stuff that's dedicated in the museum for our collection, it's not for sale. It's not for sale. My wife and I are people that genuinely love the hobby. We genuinely love the hobby. We genuinely love the collecting. I don't buy something and look at it and say, "Ooh, I could turn around and flip this." That's not in my mind. Even when I was a dealer, it wasn't. Because when I was doing tables and I was wheeling and dealing in like the early 90s, when I would buy a collection, all I wanted to do was cherry pick it. I probably was lucky if I'd sell the half of it and not keep everything, because I just loved it so much. I was a collector first and foremost, always, even when I was selling. It was hard for me to decide to sell something. And so I worked against myself. I worked against myself in that respect, which is why a lot of the vendors that I talk to say that they won't collect. I don't collect anything anymore because then I won't be able to sell it, and I've got to stay in that mindset. I kind of understand that. But, you know, back to the point, that's the argument that I'm throwing out. Are there that many people who truly love the card collecting hobby, regardless of what kind of card collecting it is? Again, Pokemon cards, Magic the Gathering cards, sports cards, pick your team, whatever, or pick your genre, basketball, whatever, versus people that are only hunting these items for potential resale value, or because they think they're going to retire with them. Oh, I'll hold on to these for a few years and flip them and then I'll retire. That kind of mentality. I'm going to throw it out there. What are your thoughts on that? What do you think? Do you think I'm out of line? Do you think I'm on the right track? Do you think that this has gone in that direction where people in the trading card arena are all like Ferengi now from Star Trek? What's it worth? What's it worth? They don't even care what it looks like. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments section down below. Please do give the video a thumbs up if you get where I'm coming from. Hype it if you don't mind. Share it if you can. Subscribe if you're new. Join the family, as it were. And if that is it, then what more can I say? But thanks for watching, and we will see you again soon.